All right, hey everybody. So this is Josh Bruce, and what we're going to be doing today is continuing our effort of getting more feedback from the IDE. And specifically, we're going to be creating a custom CodeSniffer method that will allow us to have static be first. Right. So in case you missed the previous videos, 2 or 3 videos, PHP has something called the PHP FIG, and basically they set recommendations for the community as a whole. So basically they're like the W3C for PHP. Okay, at least technically speaking, it's not like it's not a very formal organization like the W3C is. And basically inside of that there are 3 coding style recommendations, PSR1, PSR2, and PSR12. Well, according to PSR2 and 12, putting static, the keyword static first is not okay, right? Basically, static should be after the visibility, but my argument is that when we make visibility required, basically the minimal call signature for a function becomes this, right? So you basically have public function and then the name of the function. And so by putting static in between public and function, it would be kind of like having an argument that is default first, or has a default setting, or is optional first, or no, yeah, a required argument first, then followed immediately by a optional argument, followed immediately by a required argument, right? And I think, yeah, arguments with default values must be at the end of the argument list, right? And so that's part of the coding standard, or coding recommendation. So what we ended up doing is we turned off PSR2 methods, the method declaration, which is what causes static to become red. We created our own standard, 8-fold CS, with its own sniff, which is this here, which basically the only thing it does is it grabs any function and adds an error, and basically the error just says this is custom. So that's how we know it's working. Now initially I was going to set up some type of testing framework, but I got to thinking about it, and I'm probably not going to do that, at least not right now, because now I'm starting to want to code against the actual string class again, right? Because again, because this mini series, if you will, within this overall arching series sort of came about because I really wasn't feeling like doing much with the string class at that time. But now I'm kind of feeling it again. So what we're going to do, because I have no idea what I'm doing, and because I've never done this before, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into standards PSR2, not 12, sniffs, methods. This tree hierarchy is killing me. And open up the method declaration. Okay, so now the sniffs that, like the official sniffs inside CodeSniffer, are done in a different way, right, than what we have to do as extenders. So this is kind of what I'm looking at, and we can see, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this code, and I mean I'm going to totally change all of this, but I just want to be able to isolate it and get a feel for how this works, right? So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to paste it in, so that way we can close out the vendor list, make this a little bit easier to read. and just sort of get a feel for what this thing is doing. And so we're getting tokens. I don't really know what the tokens are yet. And we're going to say determine if this is a function which needs to be examined. Now, the thing about it is that I can't do this. And the reason I can't do this is because the cur scope variable is not actually passed in. Right? Process token with scope. And so let's go ahead and take a look at sniff, register, process, and there's no other variables that I can get to. And so I don't know how to get to the current scope. So I can't really do this, and I'm not sure what it's doing, and it's possible that this already gets taken care of somewhere else. So I'm just going to comment out all of that for now. So here, this is where we actually get the method name, and it's getting that from the stack pointer, which is fine. That's what we want to do. So it looks like stack pointer is what I'm doing for the parser. Okay, so it's going to ignore closures, and already I want to I want to do something here. Method name triple equals null. And we're just going to return early. So what if we do if this method name is this is closure. Right? So if, because, right, like we have a comment here that's explaining what the math is doing, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is closure, and all I need to do to figure that out is have the stack pointer. I'm going to say private function is closure. And I don't know what the type is of that, so or no, it's coming from the file itself. So I need both. So if file PHP CS file and $stack pointer. Oops. PHP CS file. And what we're trying to do is name equals PHP CS file get declaration name stack pointer return name equals, and then yeah, so if this closure, this is closure, right? And how are we going to do this? All right, so we can tell that it's not breaking because this switch is still being highlighted red. Now, one of the interesting things that I find fascinating is that this is also checking for the underscore. So method name, so this is actually an array, this name. And 0 equals and method name 1 equals true, and method name 1 does not equal underscore. So that would be checking for, I'm assuming, 2. No, method name is a string. They're using a language, the language feature of being able to, that a string is an array. So, for example, if we come in here to REPL it, go down to PHP, and we just kind of do method name equals hello, and if I do print method name 0 and run that, you see we get the capital H. And like I said in other videos, this can actually get kind of confusing. And we're checking for a second character before. All right, so just in case you don't know, when you do an AND, basically they go in order, and as soon as one of them fails, then it cancels out, right? So if the method name was just underscore and then parentheses, and there was no second character, this wouldn't continue running. So let's do this. This has this. What's the language from the PSR? All right, method names must not be prefixed with single underscore. This method names must not be prefixed with single underscore. I know that seems really long, but it's communicating a lot better what's going on than the math, at least in my opinion. So what are we going to need to pass in? We're going to need to get the name, but I can get the name from the file. We're going to need the file, so let's just pass in the file. Error is something that we're making. Data is something that we are also making, and then the stack pointer is something that I can pass in. So that points to, since this is a class, let's just go ahead and make private properties called, let's do file and private stack pointer, and the entry point is always going to, for PHP CodeSniffer, is always going to be this process method. So this is essentially our constructor. So let's go ahead and say this file equals PHP CS file, and this I'm just going to say stack equals stack pointer, but I'm going to leave it as stack pointer in the signature just to make it easy for somebody coming in who's maybe used to that. So let's go ahead and remove that. This file, this stack. We're going to say, yep, so tokens. We haven't used any tokens yet, so I'm thinking we're going to move those down just to find out where they actually need to live. And so this is closure. We can kind of do that. And then in fact, I think PHP ternary double question mark. I think that's single condition. Anyway, I think I can make that shorter, but it's not that crazy ugly. All right, so next we're going to do private function. I don't need to pass anything now. So let's go up here. All right. So basically, what we want is we want the math. Now, there's a certain level of irony here, but or comedy if nothing else. But I did say that I wanted to figure out why I was building this thing. So what are we checking for? So what we're checking for is that the string length is greater than 1, right? That's what those first two conditions do. And we are also checking that the string prefix, oh wait, yeah, so string prefix is, or contains an underscore, but string prefix does not contain a double prefix, or a double set of underscores, because that indicates a PHP magic method. All right, so we need to get method name. So yeah, let's make this part of this name equals this. Is it the stack? Is that where I'm getting the name from? No, it's from the file. File get declaration name this stack. Because we only care about functions, right? So it's always going to be a function. So that means I should be able to say this name equals that. Oh, at which point we can actually do is closure equals this name equals null, question mark, oh wait, right, And so basically we're sticking with our readability concept of let's make something understandable by the average human and then, you know, set it and do something there. Okay, so we can actually delete that. Yeah. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We basically want to say that name equals string from string, and it's this name. All right, so not single equals name count greater than 1. And then not magic method. So name has prefix and we're going to do that. Not magic method. No, this is not working out. If that's because human brain, right? So is single count equals 1. If is single return. If is magic method. Name has prefix da da da. Then we're going to return that as well. And we're going to go ahead and consolidate. Or is magic method, right? And we're going to say first character is underscore equals name character at 1 equals underscore. If bang first character is underscore. Yeah. First character is not underscore. We're going to return Okay, so at that point, right, so at this point, we should have everything we need to be able to take this out of there and move it up here. Because if we hit here, right, then we're in a bad place. And so instead of trying to figure out a way how to get into the conditional, we're just going to figure out a way how to bail early, right? And so I think that does it. Method name should not be prefixed with an underscore to indicate visibility. Data is name. Ooh, it's this name. PHP CS. So this file. Add warning. So it's a warning. I'm going to change error to message. And this stack. Okay, so are we still? I think we broke it. And that's okay because I'm just trying to fly through this a little bit to yeah. In fact, we're running low on time. So this, and it's probably actually PHP errors that are causing it. So let's go ahead and try to do that. So this arrow file copy G paste paste paste. Nope. So let's do Command Shift P, terminus, open, and we're going to do syntax error. Unexpected tokens on line 52. 52. Oh, semicolon, probably the most standard of all PHP errors. Fatal error, class, coding standard tokens not found. Okay. So, looking for a class that we didn't include. All right, everything is back. Okay, good. All right, so doing pretty well here. Yeah. So let's check. Since we should get instant feedback here, public function underscore hello. Method name hello should not be prefixed with an underscore, so if we do 2 underscores, will it ignore it? Yes, it does. and if it's just n underscore, will it ignore it? Yes, it does. So yeah, basically we just kind of refactored what's going on there, and we can see that now it's one rule, right? Because even though this is not the right rule anyway, but basically each one of these to me, anytime it says must not, like that's a separate rule. Method and function names must not be declared with space after the method name. That would be a separate rule, or at least a separate function within the same rule, because then it becomes a little bit easier to discern what's going on. So that's good. I think we're getting this one just because it's not indented properly. Yeah. So next is how to deal with the ordering of everything, right? With the visibility and so on and so forth. And it seems like there's, yeah, a pattern here. And I'm also going to take away the actual fix from here, because I think you can actually do fixes elsewhere, or that's a different concept. So yeah, we're making progress. That's good. And so as always, thank you for making the time, and I will see you around.